Hi guys, my name's Anthony Edge from Edge Academy here in San Diego, and we're going to be doing focusing on men's haircutting today. I feel like it's something a little bit different, a bit more fresh to do something on men. As you can see, we've got a male mannequin. He's got a little bit more of a grown out kind of beard as well. But we're going to work with different techniques today, showing you some disconnections, connections, undercutting, scissor over comb, etc. Okay, so we're going to go right back to our previous collections to give you some inspiration behind the men's kind of collection here. So every year at Edge we bring out a new collection of haircuts, and we take that across the whole of North America. It gets publicised in a lot of trade magazines globally, and we have an academy here in San Diego where we do 1 day, 2 day and 3 day classes. We're really focused on haircutting, but we offer other education. If you want to know more about our academy, you can go on Instagram or Facebook and do Edge the Academy, or you can go on our website at edge74.com. But today what we're going to do, we're going to literally work on a haircut from our Polaroid collection. Polaroid collection came out in 2017, and we had a really strong element of male haircutting in there. We really wanted to do, at that time, a strong barbering class. This is where we felt like, you know, when you go on Instagram and stuff, you saw a lot of people hashtagging barbers. You know, there was a lot of beards, a lot of tattoos, you know, all that kind of stuff. And at this time, you know, we were working on different kind of ideas. So as you can see there, we had like a little fade, and then another little fade, and then we worked on 2 crops. Okay, and these kind of ideas. So the first haircut, what we're going to do here on our guy is basically going to be a disconnected crop. All right, we're going to take inspiration from this Polaroid. Young kid, where I just cut his hair, literally just wanted to have something fresh. So what this is create a bit more of a weight line, a little bit more of a heaviness through the sides, and then working with scissor over comb. So technique wise, we're going to be doing some graduation, and then scissor over comb through under the curvature of the head, so like an undercut kind of feeling. And then the top, as you can see, is left a little bit more length, a little bit more playful. All right, so that's the technique we're going to approach first, which is a disconnected crop. All right, so just pre-sectioned the hair. So if you can see on a profile, it's just literally a horseshoe section. The horseshoe in this case is going a little bit lower. So we're not going high recession, we're going more in the mid to low recession, all right? Why that is because I want to build up more weight. I want to create like a little bit more of a wedge or a little bit more shape throughout the sides. So I don't want to go too high on this. So in this case, you know, go about more about that mid kind of length, mid recession. It's horizontal, so if you look on a profile, it's a horizontal section going like a horseshoe. So it curves around the head shape, like a horseshoe section or a U section, and then you literally isolate the top out the way. All right, so this top is completely disconnected, and this is going to be an undercut. Okay, so we're going to start off from the sides. Personally, when I do male or female short hair, I always like to start at the sides when I do this haircut, and that's just my personal opinion, but I get the client involved within the service. So if I'm working behind the chair and I was cutting this now on a real guy, then I want to make sure that I'm doing it the right length. So say for example, when I pull out the first section and I eliminate some of this length, is this length like too long? Is it going to be too short? You know, so it all comes down to your consultation. So I always ask 3 questions when I'm doing a consultation. The questions for me is, what do you love about your hair? What do you hate about your hair? And what product are you using in your hair at the moment? So they're open questions where I get the client involved straight away, and I start to ask questions about, you know, what their likes and their needs are. All right, so what I'm going to do here is literally working a technique called block graduation. Okay, so block graduation is literally working a section parallel to the horseshoe. So I'm working horizontal. That's going to be creating a bit more of a weight line. If you work diagonal or vertical, then your graduation is going to be softer. But if I go all the way around into a horizontal, I'm going to build up more weight and more shape. And that's what we want to achieve from this look. So I'm starting on the sides. I'm literally working about 1 inch underneath my horseshoe. I elevate on the base at 90. So my distribution, the way I'm combing the hair and the way I'm elevating the hair, is straight out the head at 90. Then I decide if the client likes it. If the client likes this length, then you can continue. Yeah, if this was a little bit too long, then you can go in and cut more and more till the client is happy. So the client sees how much you're cutting off on the first section. So why I like to cut on the sides is because then you're getting the client involved in their haircut. Okay, so literally working on the base section probably about an inch. Okay, so about an inch width on the base, and you can see there just literally going 90, and then literally I'm going to go around the head shape. All right, so I'm literally just going round the head shape, ignoring the underneath, so ignoring all this underneath part. Okay, I'm just doing one section all the way around. Blunt cutting, so again, personal choice. If you want to make this a bit softer and a bit looser, you could literally choose a technique like point cutting. All right, so you're just literally doing one section all the way around, kind of like a block graduation technique kind of idea. All right, and then I'm going to step on the opposite side and do exactly the same on the opposite side. So comb everything out on the base, drop that down, okay, and then decide what sort of length you want to take. You're taking it finger short, how short you're taking it, and then we're just stepping around the head, and that is literally my first section completed. All right, so basically this is putting a guideline in now to introduce the scissor over comb. All right, because when you're doing scissor over comb, a lot of people say, when do you stop? When do I pull my comb out? It's great scissor over comb, but I'm not very confident with scissor over comb. I prefer to use maybe a clipper than scissor over comb. I like to use like clippers and guards and stuff like that. All right, so what we've done here is literally just brought everything out on the base at 90. And then what we're going to do now, we're literally going to introduce some scissor over comb. So I'm not going to cut any of this hair because I'm going to cut it all off with scissor over comb. So it's silly going in and graduating it all and then afterwards going back in and then cutting it again. So what we're trying to do is save time behind the chair as well, because as we know, like male clients, when they come into the salon, they don't want to sit in a chair for like an hour having a haircut. Okay, a guy sitting in the chair for an hour having a haircut is basically like having a hairdresser sitting down for too long. All right, so he's going to be like standing up and saying like, how long is it going to be? So you're looking around about 30 to 40 minutes for a male to have a haircut, to be literally coming in and out. If some of you are quicker than that, that's great, because then obviously your service is quicker. But if you go too quick, then all of a sudden you're going into that kind of barber. All right, and also if you go too quick, then you've also got to think about what sort of prices you're charging for your male clients. Okay, so it all comes down to like your service and like how much you'd be charging for them. Because if you're going too quick and you go into like 20-minute haircuts, are you charging $20, $30 a haircut? Yeah, because you can go to some really high-end barber shops now and you can easily pay $60 for a haircut. Okay, we're here in California, and I know for a fact, there's a lot of male grooming salons out there charging that kind of price. Okay, so what we're going to do now is literally just introduce some scissor over comb. All right, so scissor over comb, okay, literally working that through. As you can see, we've got a little beard going on our mannequin as well, so we're just going to blend that in. All right, so literally I'm working with a normal cutting comb. This comb, what we're using is our own, it's Edge orange comb. Okay, we designed it a few years ago, and why we came out with this is because we do a lot of male hair cutting, and instead of having a black comb on black hair and you can't see what you're cutting, it's orange. You can see literally the hair, what you're going to cut, and literally go through and do your scissor over comb. All right, so you can start to see that shape coming nicely through all there. So we're literally working from the hairline, yeah, using the spine of the comb. So this is the spine of the comb, the bottom, and the spine of the comb should always be touching the skin. All right, some people say, 45 degree and start getting really technical with the comb. Personally, I just turn around and say, look, always get that spine of the comb to touch the skin, or in this case, the plastic, and then literally just work all the way up, okay? And when you're working all the way up, you'll reach the guideline, what you first cut, which is your graduation, and that's when you stop. So literally you scissor over combing all the way up to that weight line, okay? And that's when you stop. All right, and then we're going to literally step round the head, all right, and literally work through. Scissor over comb, okay, all the way up to that guide, And then it's a mannequin, so we all know sometimes going too short on a mannequin look a little bit patchy and stuff like that. So we'll try our best to try and keep it a little bit longer and looking cool. And you can see there's a lot of hair there now. So if you want to, you can eliminate some of this hair by literally just going in and just getting rid of some of that. Alright, because it is like a restyle. It's a complete new look, which is fantastic. So you literally go in there. If some of you prefer to go in with clipper over comb, you could literally clip it over comb and get some of that hair completely disappeared. Okay, so you just literally get rid of some of this hair for now. Alright, so right, and then you can literally go back in, yeah, and then start your scissor over comb. Okay, so scissor over combing all the way up to your little weight line. Take this nice and tight. And what you're really looking for when you're doing scissor over comb on a mannequin, because obviously, you know, with the stitching and how it's looking on camera, you know, really what you're looking for is looking at the silhouette. So as you can see, like looking at the white wall behind us, what you're looking for is that silhouette. All right, so sometimes when you look, if you get a towel, or if you get your client to, or you yourself to move around the head, what you're looking for is how clean is that silhouette. All right, so you don't want to have it steppy. And you don't want to have lines or anything like that, or patches. All right, so if you find you get lines when you do scissor over comb and you find it gets quite patchy, that might be because you're cutting the hair when it's too wet. So sometimes it's better to cut hair scissor over comb when it's dry, because then you don't get lines or holes or any patchiness. So when the hair's dry, it's a little bit more control. Also, maybe using a larger comb like this is a lot easier than a smaller comb. And then even using maybe a larger blade. So if you've noticed when I'm cutting the scissor over comb today, we're using a 7-inch blade. All right, a 7-inch blade is very designed really for barbers back in the day. A lot of hairdressers now use a 7 for customization, personalizing, detailing. Okay, that's what I use the 7s for as well. But it's also nice for scissor over comb. So the larger the scissor, you know, the less likely you are to get lines in the hair or patchy. So if this is something that you really want to master in your craft, which is scissor over comb, then maybe invest in a larger comb and a larger scissor. Okay, so then literally going to go into the opposite side now, and we're going to eliminate some of that hair. Okay, and you just literally spin the model or the dolly head around a little bit, and you just literally always having that spine. So what I'm trying to say, that spine of the comb should be always touching the scalp or the skin, so then you've got control. So the comb's not just floating in midair, it's literally resting on your client's scalp, and you're literally opening and closing, literally one blade. Yeah, and getting that nice rotation all the way through. Nice change, nice and fresh. You know, you got a lot of guys or girls who come in and want scissor over comb. So for me, yes, it's nice. It's nice to say we're doing a men's haircut, but I know there's a lot of girls out there who will have scissor over comb and a nice little undercut. All right, so this haircut for me is very non-binary, very unisex. So taking that nice and tight in the nape. Okay, and you can see, look, by the time I've gone into the nape and get that really tight, by the time I'm coming out to the top, nothing's reaching. Alright, so nothing comes off that top area, which is basically the guideline we first put in. So you put the guide in, and then you think, okay, when do I stop scissor over combing? You stop scissor over combing when you get to the guideline. Okay, so your guide is your best friend in a way. Nice little technique, scissor over comb. For me, very therapeutic. Making sure we blend in that beard as well. You know, we're going to leave the beard for this look and let it be a bit longer. But like work with the beard in there. Okay. Make sure you're getting in nice and tight. This is where maybe you would hold a client's ear back. So, you know, if you've got clients with larger ears and the ear gets in the way and you're like, well, how do I put my comb? Sometimes just pull the ear back a little bit and get that nice and clear. It's always a little bit scary going around the ear when you're doing scissor over comb. If you're a little bit nervous, you could always get your gent or lady to hold the ear. Alright, you could always get them to hold the ear if you a little bit nervous in any way around there. Okay, so just gonna make sure I'm 100% happy. I want to master the underneath before we continue. So never switch off and never go, oh, okay, I'll come back to it later and finish it. Let's just finish the whole underneath. Let's get it absolutely perfect. Okay, so let's get all this perfect. And then we can then continue to our second section, which is the top. Okay, so I'm just literally just taking that nice and clean. I'm looking at the silhouette, all right, and then I'm working around the head. Literally working through. Because it's a dolly head and we have, you know, a really kind of high hairline and it's not even. You know, like you get some clients and they're going to have hairlines where it might be going into the middle, it could be a whirl, etc. So you just literally work with the hairline. So you could literally, if you wanted to, you could literally point cut this hairline, keep it nice and soft. If you like it a little bit more solid, you could use a clipper or cut out the hairline. It's up to your personal choice. Personally, I like to have a bit more of a softer perimeter. So I'm thinking about what the haircut's going to look like in 2 or 3 weeks. You know, this haircut is definitely a money maker behind the chair. And why I say that is because then, you know, when this grows out, it's going to grow out and it's going to need a reshaping again within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So it's definitely a money maker when clients want to come in and have a little change and stuff like that. Alright, so stepping away from your work, that's what I'm trying to say now, is like, obviously I'm so close here, and then working scissor over comb, sometimes you can be too close. So the best thing to do is step away from your work and have a look at it. Yeah, look at it on, and then walk around. Maybe use your mirror as well. If we had a mirror here now, maybe I would literally look in front of the mirror and get the client to move the head to the left, and then start to see the shape. Go to the right and then start to see the shape, yeah? And then what we're really looking for here from the camera angle is literally the silhouette. I'm looking at this kind of silhouette. I'm not looking at, like, obviously the dolly head itself and the stitching, because as we all know, you take a dolly head too short, you just see basically the stitching of it. All right, so yes, it's great to practice on a dolly head, you know, obviously great to see the kind of shape from the dolly head. But, you know, some of them don't sit absolutely bang on. All right, so I just want to make sure that, you know, the silhouette is looking good for us. And I'm liking what the shape we've got going on there. Okay. All right, and I think, like, from a profile point of view there, looking at that kind of silhouette. Okay, right, so we're happy with that. We're literally working with a block graduation, parallel to the horseshoe, nice and short, about fingers short, and then scissor over combing all the way up, starting at the sides, going into the back, literally having the spine of the comb touching, and literally working from hairline all the way up, taking that nice and short. Once we've done that, we can take this clip out now, and this is basically our disconnection. All right, so all of a sudden you've got a nice little undercut going on. All right, we've got some guys out there who probably would have this haircut this long as well. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to introduce some layering. All right, so we're going to introduce some layering to this technique. Really kind of simple. All right, so we're going to go right in the center, right through the center, like a mohawk section or a profile section, whatever you prefer to call it. I say about as wide as the comb, all the way through the center. I'll go probably on a profile here so you can start to see what we're going to do. We're going to be maintaining some of the length at the front. So we're literally working like short to long. Okay, so I'm going to create a little bit more of a layering pattern through here. So I'm just going to lift it up, 90 from the crown. Okay, I'm going to point cut my layers. And then I'm just going to over direct that front back a little bit. Okay, so what's going to feel, it's going to be a little bit longer. So if I lift this up 90 now, it's longer at the front and then it's going shorter towards the crown. Alright, so what I'm doing on the angle here is just 90 straight off the crown, or point cut, so 90 straight off that crown, and then the rest of the hair is then travelling, yeah, to over directing to that point. And then what I'm going to do now, to create that kind of undercut still, I'm going to pull everything into the middle. Okay, so we just pull everything into the middle. Alright, so now it's over directing, or it's travelling, okay, over. So make sure you stand on the opposite side, so your body position is really important. Because what I'm doing, I'm over directing into the middle slightly, so I'm going to have an overhang, because I want this to be an undercut. Alright, if I go too short with the layering, then I will lose the disconnection and I'll lose the undercut kind of shape. So this was like left longer on the top, so it's called like a, you know, a disconnected crop. Alright, so literally just 90. So 90 on that crown, and then we're just over directing that back. And then if you want to come straight up to the ceiling, and you felt like I want to see the shape, then you'd see it's longer at the front and shorter towards that back. Okay, and then you can just pull that back like so, and then we'll do exactly the same on the opposite side. Okay, so you've got your guideline in the centre. Start the crown as your guideline, nice and clear. Literally point cutting away all that length. Okay, over directing that front back. So you literally run out of hair and nothing reaches. Okay, and you're going to get some guys who might be a lot thinner on the top, or they might have a really weak recession area. Okay, you know, so you know, if you've got a gentleman who's got finer hair and he's got a really strong recession area, this is kind of a nice kind of haircut to do, because it's over directing that front back to the crown. Yeah, so it's leaving more weight at the front. So if you've got a guy who's got a really strong recession area, or it's kind of weaker through the front, basically you've done that kind of angle. It's shorter, going longer, so it's keeping more weight through there. And then you can always then go in and decide what sort of length you actually want to take off now. Because we've done a nice little layering pattern all the way through, but then do you want to keep all that kind of length through there? So for me, it's very Peaky Blinders back at that time. You know, when we did this in 2017, that was really hot at the time. A lot of people still like those kind of shapes from the Netflix TV program and from the BBC. It's a Netflix called Peaky Blinders, and there's lots of inspiration you can take for men's haircutting. People take it from music, fashion, the catwalk, sports personalities. You know, there's lots of like icons out there where you could take inspiration from for male haircuts. And then what we're going to do here then is just literally how much length do you want to leave over. Do you want to, because obviously I want him to sweep this back, yeah, and I want to make it like sweep it back like that. But you know, and you could put like a Brill cream in there, you could put like a wax or pomade in there, make it look really cool. You know, make it a bit more like the, you know, John Draper from, you know, Mad Men a few years back. You know, things like that. You take different inspiration from different movies and films. So in this case, I feel like it might be a little bit too long, it might be a bit too floppy. So I'm just going to literally just then bring that down and decide, you know, from the face shape, from lifestyle and what his needs and likes are. Maybe just take a little bit more off that length. Okay, so I'm going to elevate it away from his face so we get a bit of softness, and we just literally just point cut that through. All right, and again, what you see and what I see are always going to be different, and that's really good, because that's what makes our clients unique. You know, not everybody is the same, not every client's the same, not every hairdresser is the same. So, you know, if we're all the same and we all had the same taste, life would be boring. You know, so there's some gentlemen will come in and say, I want it more layered. Some gentlemen will come in and say, I don't want it too short, or I want it longer. You know, and some guys might even want this highlighted on the top, you know, and have it coloured. So again, you're going to have those kind of different clients there. So I'm elevating away from the face, and what that does, it just gives me a bit more of a softer edge. I'm always thinking about how it's going to grow out, okay? So a little bit of elevation just makes it that little bit softer and more forgiving for me. All right, so I'm now just going to do the opposite side now, the same. So going through here now, and we'll do the opposite side. We'll literally just go through and eliminate some of that length. Elevating high, point cutting through, and then just coming over to one side. So you've got that nice little sleek little number going on. Okay, so some of you might turn around and go, I don't really do a lot of undercuts. I don't do a lot of the kind of short underneath and long on the top. So then, you know, we can show you on our next haircut is how to connect it, which is kind of nice. So it's kind of like, you know, you might have some gentlemen who might turn around and go, you know, I like it, it's a little bit edgy, a little bit different, okay? I like the kind of the shape to it. But then you might have some guys who turn around and say, some hairdressers who might turn around and say, I like it when it's more connected, I like that when I can connect it a little bit more. So we'll show you on the next haircut is literally how we're going to connect it all through. All right, so I feel like that's the kind of a nice little fashionable forward kind of little haircut, what we've done there. All right, so really, really simple. It's all about having a simple, fast technique that you can work every day in the salon, and it's really going to complement your males and female clients. So just a little recap on that. We've left this beard longer and stuff, but you know, if you wanted to put in like a pomade or a Bril cream and then get a comb and literally just comb that in, that would look really cool as well. All right, so just a recap on this. It's a little disconnected crop. We've gone mid-recession as a horseshoe. We literally worked on the side as a block graduation. So fingers short, parallel to the parting, 90 degrees distribution elevation and cutting parallel, blunt. So you've just on the base, all the way round, and you've got a guideline basically in the haircut. Then you literally start at the sides and you do scissor over comb. Scissor over combing using the spine of the comb to touch the skin, and you're literally going from the bottom, working your way up to the guideline. Now you do exactly the same all the way through the back, and then on real hair types, then you might have to move the comb back and forth, depending on if there's any hair growth patterns and movements. If you get lines and patches, then the best thing is to use a larger comb and a larger scissor, so it will help you. Once you've got that, I know like we said before, it's a mannequin head, we're trying to make it look as nice and cool as possible. But then if you get patches and lines and stuff, then just go back in with a larger scissor. We're looking at more of the silhouette, all right, so making sure the silhouette's looking nice. Then the top, we're literally working from shorter to longer, all right, shorter to longer, over-directed everything in, and then we just tidied up the perimeter. Hope you like it. Thanks very much.